So, we have been looking at control flow of our programs. And until now we have seen some control flow structures for sequential programming, which are sequential statements, so they're separated by a semicolon and means one statement after another. We have seen decision control flow structures that say, if this expression is true, then do that, and if it's not true, do something else. And we've seen case statements that say, okay, in case my condition is this, I do that. If it's something else, I do something else, and so on. We've also seen looping that enables us to iterate the different block of statements an amount of time we need it. In a for loop, we mostly already know the amount of times we want to iterate, and in a while loop, we use a Boolean expression to determine how long we want to go on. So these control flow structures determine the order in which statements are being executed. So this is in sequential programming. There is another paradigm of programming which is called event-driven program. And actually then the control flow is not determined by control flow structures, but it's determined by events. And an event is a signal to a program that something has occurred. Something has occurred and it indicates to the program this has occurred and you have to deal with it doing some operation. So for example, user actions. If we're using a user interface and we click on some button or we type some text and we say okay, then we send a message to the program saying okay, the user has done this event, respond to it. So we need to do something about it and give the user the response that he expects. Other examples are sensor outputs. In embedded software, for example, if we have a robot, robots have sensors. And these sensors will look at, for example, the environment and will try to not bump into some objects. So if we see that something is going to happen, we can send an event to the software that has to calculate, for example, the direction the robot has to go in order not to bump into this object. So this is event-driven programming. So let's look at how this looks in some pictures. So a user interacts with the program by pressing a key, for example. This is an event. So an event occurs and it's sent to our program. And then a piece of code, which is called an event handler, because it will take care of this event and deal with it. And this piece of code is then being executed. So that piece of code says, okay, so if that is true, I'm going to do something like this. And if the other thing happened, then I'm going to do something else. And it gives a reply to the user, this is visible. And then the user can react to it again. The user does another event. The event occurs again. An event handler is called. A response is given to the user. And this goes on until the user stops interacting with the program. So this is just another way of defining control flow in a program. So this ends programming logic and languages.